to the SheShed. I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm absolutely excited, more excited, I guess, to have my guest here, Candice Reyes. Candice is a gem. Like she is, as y'all have heard me say, a God's breath. We had a conversation, and I'm telling you, I'm forever changed. But I want to give you a brief introduction to who she is. She is the executive director of Hooks2Crook Ministries LLC, and under Hooks for Crooks, what they do is they provide hope to individuals that believe that they have been forgotten or unseen. I don't know about y'all, but that just like speaks to my Shauna now. It kind of helps me to realize that there are people out here that really want to help people to move and do be seen. But this is the other part that I love about Candice is she is under Hooks for Crooks. They actually have several programs, and one of which is the Red Rover podcast. And I'm encouraging you all to go out and listen to that. And then she has what I just found out is More Than a Mom. And if any of y'all know, that has been my whole life forever and a day is being a mom. So that kind of shook my fancy as well. And then she has Her Well, which is why we're here today and how we connected. But I don't want to get above myself. I want her to really introduce who she is. But the other things that I can say about her is she's a mom, she's a wife, she's a friend, she's an advocate, she's an author, she's a basic self-defense instructor, and she's a survivor. So, honey, we have a whole lot in common, and I'm just excited to bring her on. So, if you give me like 2.5 seconds to get her in here, we are going to get started. Hello, Candice.
Hey, Tina, I'm so glad to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
I am glad that you said yes. I'm glad that you said yes. So often, when you are, we're busy, it's hard to say yes to things, even if it's things that you really want to do. Sometimes you have to say no. But you said yes, and I'm excited. So you heard me tell them a little bit about you. And but I want to hear from your mouth. I want them to hear from your mouth. Who is Candice? And who do you, as they say, who do you say you are?
First and foremost, I'm going to tell you I'm the daughter of a king. I am restored and redeemed by him and him alone. And the second thing I would tell you about me is yes, I am a survivor. I'm a wife, a mom of 3 incredible kids, and a survivor who fights for survivors. I want to make sure that women and men who experienced this type of an assault have a space, a safe place to be restored um, and find true healing the way I found true healing. And it is only through Christ alone that that happens. And so I just wanted to offer a safe space of whoever, whenever, no matter what, where you, no matter who you pray to. I'm going to say that way. Our center is a Christian based center. And so we don't force anything on you, but we just love you like Christ loves you right where you are. And so that's who we are. That's who I am.
I love it. I love it. And so, just in case you guys are trying to figure out what are y'all talking about, so April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and so this whole month in the SheShed, we are focusing on resources, information, awareness, education, all things centered around bringing awareness to sexual assault. And so, if you missed the podcast where we did the panel, I encourage you to go back and look at that because there was a lot of good gems that was dropped in that. But today, what I want to do is I really want to talk with Candice because, as she said, you know, as you go through the process of healing
Mhm.
and in any kind of recovery that you go through, they tell you the best way is to help someone else through it. But you have to be in a position to help someone else. Or what you're going to do is you're going to end up bleeding on them, and you don't want to do that. You've heard me say many times, if you don't heal your wound, you're going to bleed on the people that you love the most, and you don't want to do that. So I am thankful that Candice is here and in her healed state so that she can share, just what it really means to share part of her story, share what it means to be someone that can be an advocate. What is an advocate? Like all those things we want to talk about. So, Candice, I'm going to start with the questions and you kind
Okay.
of jump in and help us out a little bit. So, one of the things that I would ask is, what was that moment to where you knew, because there's going to be someone listening
Mhm.
that's, that's like, I can't do this. I don't want to deal with it. They hiding it. What was that moment where you realized I can't hide behind this anymore? I need to heal. And what
Mhm.
does healing look like for you?
For me on my journey, um, I ran from it for a long time. It wasn't so my husband and I have been married for now 20 years, and it took me, year 18 that I actually voiced to him about a sexual assault that happened on our honeymoon. Um, and he knew previously that I am a two-time survivor, and so, at age in when I was younger in high school, I was raped, and so then I had to walk through that healing process, but then after we got married, there was another situation that just resurrected those same scars, those same, wounds, and so I fought. I fought with God on whether or not I really wanted to go and dive into those wounds again and clean them out and allow him to heal. Because you have to clean the wound before it can actually heal. And when you clean it, there is a lot of debris usually that's inside that wound. There's bacteria, there's all kinds. I mean, I'm sorry, I know this is kind of gross, but I just want you guys to understand when you go in to clean a wound, there you can expect pain, and I knew that, and I knew that these wounds that I had, they were so deep, and there was so much festering there that it was gonna cause me pain. But as I started embracing that journey with God, I realized that that pain that I was so fearful of, it turned more into pressure,
Mm,
and that pressure I could handle. I could continue to take the next steps. And there were moments, I'll be honest with you, Tina, that I had to take a pause because the pressure that I was feeling in that time, it was so heavy on my heart and my chest. Like I couldn't breathe sometimes because I knew how deep those pain points were. And
mhm,
so in that moment when it was so heavy, I I was able to take a break. I was able to kind of, okay, Lord, I need to pause. And he was so gentle and kind and allowed me to pause. And then when it was time to start it back up, he's like, "Okay, you ready? Let's take the next step." And so that was part of my healing journey is walking with him, and it's still happening. I'll be honest, I'm not fully restored. It is a continuous journey that I will be forever walking with and him on. And I'm so grateful his patience, and he also continues to pursue me each and every time. And so that was my turning point, is realizing that the pain that I was so fearful of as I was walking along with him, it didn't feel like pain. It felt like pressure. And that helped me
mm.
get through it and keep going.
Wow, wow. You said a lot, and who I got chills as you was talking, because you're right. Like when you talked about, there are going to be times when you're digging in there and there's going to be debris. But let's go back. Let's go back a little bit further than that. The idea of what you said is there can be things that will happen that will trigger the feelings and emotions and even cause you to relive some of the pains that you didn't. I don't want to say that you did not process. I don't
Mhm.
want to really look at it like that, but just the pain. Like you could have gone through it, but it don't mean that it stops. It
Mhm.
re-triggers. And
Mhm.
I think that's one of the things that I have seen the most in me and other women that I've talked to. Is like, well, why am I having to deal with that again?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And it's like you said, it is a process. it happens. It's like peeling a onion, as you
Mhm.
get deeper and deeper, the more pain and the more your eyes begin to water. And
Yes.
it is exactly that way when it comes to trauma. So I am glad that you realize that. And the other thing that you said was when you said that, it no longer felt like actual pain, but a pressure.
Mhm.
So can you give us more on that? Say more of that pressure. What is, because someone is listening saying,
Mhm.
I'm angry or whatever,
Mhm.
but understanding what you're really feeling is important.
Yeah, absolutely, Tina. So this aha moment is what I like to call it, happened because so previously I was a school teacher that worked with girls who have experienced pregnancy. And so I walked with them through their high school journey and learning how about labor and delivery and those things. And so one of the fear factors that they had was having a C-section. And I wanted to so we kind of unpacked that. What does that mean? Why are you so fearful of a C-section? And they were like, "Cuz we don't know what to expect. Am I going to feel this pain? And I'm so worried I'm going to feel all this pain." And I said, "Okay, let's watch one." And so we went to a website that I knew I could trust, and we pulled up a C-section that was happening that they had documented. And as we were watching this C-section, I was asking the students, when you're watching this, what are you hearing the woman on the table say? What are you hearing her say? Is she saying, "I this hurts. I feel pain. You're hurting me. Stop." Any of those types of things that you would think she could say because she's being cut open. And they were like, "No, actually, she's not." I said, "Well, what is she saying then?" And they said, "She feels pressure." And as soon as they said that, like, I had that aha moment, and God said, "That's you. That's you
Mm.
on the table. Will you be the woman on the table and go through your own healing journey with me? Because you're so afraid of the pain. But when you walk with me, Candace, you'll feel pressure. And if you choose to say yes to this pressure, a new life is given, because this new brand new baby was given and it was crying and screaming, but this new journey can begin with healing if you're willing to embrace the pressure."
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that. And again, those tingles, the tingles. And but that is so profound because you and I talked about, well, I don't want to go on this bunny trail because we'll do that. So Candace and I, for y'all that don't know, we talked a little bit in the past, and we had to really literally say, okay, let's get off the phone before we don't have nothing to talk about during the podcast. Because we share such I just feel a spirit, a connection in the
Mhm.
spirit. But you know, as we're going through this process, I was gonna go on a bunny trail. I came back, I come back. It is a pressure.
Mm.
It's not a pain, but it's not comfortable.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know, when you're
Right.
going through this, it's not gonna be comfortable.
Right.
You know, my dog decided he wants to talk. She wants to talk today. But it is very important for us to realize and understand that even in the midst of what we are experiencing, God is there and He
Mhm.
knows exactly what we're experiencing. The other thing you said that I wanted to talk about is like you felt as though you was giving that He gave you a chance to pause. And I
Mhm.
think it's important for the women to
Mhm.
realize and understand that sometimes you do have to pause, that
Mhm.
you can't absorb all this at one time. So if there is someone out there that is actually feeling as though they need to pause or
Mhm.
they're afraid to pursue it because they don't think they're going to have an opportunity to pause, what would you say to them?
Mm. I'd like to tell them to give yourself grace first and foremost, and allow yourself to pause and not feel like the pressure that you have to keep going when you can't go anymore. Because there's so many times I think we put our own expectations. We put these expectations on ourselves that I have to keep going. I have to keep going so that I can have this healing. Girlfriend, I get it. However, you will get there. You just have to give yourself grace and allow yourself to heal. And part of that healing process is to pause. You have to be able to take another breath. Because if you cannot breathe, you can't keep going. You're gonna fall out. You're not gonna be able to continue this journey. And so this is an endurance race. This is not a, how fast can I get there type of race. This is not about speed. This is about endurance. And part of endurance requires us to pause and take a breath and also build that strength up. You cannot, I can't go and jump into a gym right now and start lifting really big heavy weights and thinking like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get buff and fit." If I haven't started the preparation of doing the little weights first and building that strength before I start even trying to lift the heavy. And so God knows that process. We don't always enjoy the process, but man, if we choose to walk along with him in his process, in his pace, because his pace is grace. So if we're willing to walk along in his pace, freedom is right there. It's right there at your fingertips. Keep going.
I love that. I love what you said. And you are so correct in just being patient with yourself. I think that's
Mhm.
one of the things that, regardless if you are a survivor or not,
Mhm.
women have a hard time showing ourselves grace.
Mhm.
We will show it to everyone else, but we struggle when it comes to us. And I'm glad that you said that and you vocalized that so that someone can hear. I don't have to do everything perfectly. I don't have to know all the how. I just need to be willing.
Mhm. Perfection is not attractive. Can I just say that? It is not attractive. And so if your goal is to be perfect, you're gonna miss the mark. It is our messiness that is the attractiveness because it shows our resilience, it shows our character, it shows how big our God is and how much he can do for us. So it's not the perfection that we're attracted to. It's your messiness. Are you
Mm,
willing to be messy in the moments?
that's good. That's so good. Because I know in one of my books I talked about how the most liberating thing to me was realizing I did not have to be perfect in an
Mm.
imperfect world. All
Mm.
I had to do was be consistent in the
Mhm.
effort.
Mhm.
And so I would say to anyone that's out there, just be consistent in your desire to want to get better, to want to
Mhm.
heal, to want to face it.
Mhm.
Um, Another thing you said was you waited to tell your husband
Mhm.
about what was
Mhm.
going on or what had happened, what had transpired. And so often I hear that from individuals who have not been through anything. They'll say, "Why you wait so long?"
Mm.
And I I cringe, I clutch my pearls, and I bite on my
Mhm.
tongue because I want to say some very hard things to that person. But how do you deal with that woman that's sent? What would you say to that woman that it's been a while and she never
Mhm.
told anybody? What would you say to her to help her to see that it's okay and how to move forward?
Our voice is one of the most powerful tool and weapon we have is our voice. And I think for me, I chose to wait to share with my husband because it was on our honeymoon. And I didn't in that moment, um, there was a police officer that was involved. And so I was worried and concerned about what my husband would do in that moment, if he would end up going to jail, if there would be what kind of repercussions. Then I also thought, well, I'm going to ruin our our honeymoon for him. And I didn't want to do that. And so I was silent out of protection for him. It took me attending counseling sessions um and spending time with the Lord, to be very frank, to have the courage to share the truth of our story to him. Um, what I've learned is that the courage does not remove fear. Courage is doing the right thing in spite of my fear. And I had to have courage to share with him what happened because I didn't know how he would respond. I didn't know if he'd believe me. I didn't know if he would um, come and support me. Like, I know my husband and I know he loves me dearly, and he has supported me through a whole bunch of trauma and other hurricanes that have hit us. He has been so remarkable, but I still questioned. I still wondered, is he gonna still love me? And I know those were questions that the enemy wanted me to have in my thoughts, like, just wanted me to chew on for so long because it kept me hidden. It kept my story hidden, it kept my voice silent, and after my counseling sessions and spending time with God, I knew he was asking me, "It's time to tell him." And Tina, when I did, there was freedom. I was still afraid, but there was freedom, and his response caught me off guard because as I'm sharing with him what happened, all he does is he sits there and he weeps with me and he says, "I'm sorry. I should have never left you. You don't have anything to apologize, and I love you. We're going to get through this." He said exactly what I needed to hear in that moment, but I would have never gotten to hear those words, gotten to hear his response and his affirmation of his love for me if I never said a word. And so our voice has power, and that power begins our healing.
That was beautiful. Like, yeah, yeah. It's really really good when you do have that support and you can have that. And like you said, even in the midst of your fear, you knew you had to share it with him, and not and God provided a space where he met you
Mhm.
where you needed and
Yes.
was a tangible,
Right.
like God is there, yes, but we need that tangible, something I can feel and see and touch
Right.
the support. So I'm glad you had that. And we also realize, for those that are listening, sometimes you don't have that.
Right.
But that's why there are programs like what Candice offers, like what I offer, but so you can have that support.
Mhm.
So I do want to talk about, a little bit about, what you offer. I know that you are in Houston, but Candace and I are going to be doing some things that will help those that are here as well, just like everywhere, because
Mhm.
we know what it's like. We know what it's like to want to share your story,
Mhm.
want to heal, and not know how or what to say.
Mhm.
So we want to make sure that we provide that opportunity in a space that is safe and brave. That's what I'll
Mhm.
always say. You can have a safe space that may not feel very brave or allow you to be brave. And so we want you to do that. And I loved when you said you was talking about courage is despite the fear. So what are the offers that that your center is offering, and then
Mhm.
things that women can actually, survivors can actually, I don't want to say women
Mhm.
survivors can actually look for in their local community that could help them?
Absolutely. So there are centers around internationally. So for instance, if you've ever experienced something like this, you can go to rain.org, RAINN.org, to find a center nearest you. Um, But I would for our center here in the Houston area, we provide, medical follow-up. So we are connected with a clinic, that's here in town, and we help out with um, HIV, STDs, pregnancy, and well women checkups. We also offer our clients crisis counseling. So we help out with doing a CVC, which is crime victim compensation. So if you have actually filed a report, there is compensation by the through the state to help you, whether it's to relocate, whether it is to go to school and you had to stop going to school, whether it's to help pay for some bills or whatever because of the situation that has happened to you, you're needing some compensation, and so the state offers those things. We also provide trauma counseling. So we have 7 licensed state provider counselors who are able to walk you through your treatment, as well as what we offer is it's called EMDR. EMDR is a deeper type of counseling that works with PTSD. We also have a ART. It's not art, but it's ART, that it goes a little bit deeper with the EMDR, but it just kind of helps with the trauma piece so that when you are rethinking your story or sharing your story, you're not reliving that trauma piece, that where your hands get sweaty, where your heart races, where you're actually reliving that story. You don't have to do that with ART. Um, Another piece of the things that we offer is group sessions. And our group sessions, they're a little different. Like we're going to be going to women's conferences. We're going to be taking our ladies. A lot of our and I do say ladies because a lot of the clients that we have right now, they are typically women. If a man ever came, we do have counseling services for men as well, because we do realize that happens in this world, and so we will have strength and agility courses that we're going to be going because I want you to see how strong you really are, and so group sessions are gonna be very unique and different, and then we also offer basic self-defense courses, and, we realize that, a lot of times victims or survivors who go through this, they're wanting to know how can they prevent this from happening again, and so we give a very safe space for that, where women can come and learn these skills, but also, uh if they need to take a break because it has triggered, they can go take a break. They can go and recollect themselves because I will tell you, when I attended basic self-defense training, it triggered all kinds of thoughts. It triggered all kinds of memories, and having a space to be able to have that freedom to step away, let me regain my thought process,
Yeah.
understand that I'm safe in this area, and we don't for instance, we don't have to have somebody touching you to learn the skills.
Great.
You can do these things and know how to do them without having somebody touching you that's causing you that trigger. We just want you to understand how the process is so that if it ever happens, you know how to handle it yourself. Um, so those are the things that we offer currently right now. We're really looking forward to just being able to impact these survivors in a way that they can walk out with courage and with their head held high, because our goal here is for them to reclaim their hope, regain their voice, and resist the urge to isolate, because those are the 3 things that we tend to do. And
Yes.
in this when we've experienced this type of trauma, and we want to help them walk out with that freedom.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I wrote down, several of the things so that if anyone asks, and I can put it in the show notes. But so I am also with Rain. I'm one of their on their speakers um, bureau, and it is important for us to utilize those programs that are out there. So we get trapped in our own space, and unfortunately, when you put yourself and you only look at what's inside of you and you don't look at other people, you isolate.
Mhm.
And a lot of times that causes even more hurt and more pain.
Mhm.
And so, we want to encourage you. Candace and I are standing together in this effort to encourage you. Reach out. It might, as Candace said, it might be messy. You
Mhm.
might reach out messy. Like you might not say the right things, or you might not even know what to ask. You don't know what you need.
Mhm.
That's not what we want. We just want you to reach out so that you can get the help that you need. So, Candace, the other thing that I wanted to mention really, really quick is I do want to ask you, um, if there was anything, if you can, knowing what you know right now, all the skills, all the prayer, all the everything that you have gone through, what would be the words that you would tell yourself after your first um, attack? Because that was the most vulnerable. I feel like that's sometimes the most vulnerable time. What
Mhm.
would you say to yourself?
That's a good question. Um, Tina, I'd probably say to that young girl, hope is around the corner and get back up. It's going to be okay. And as you walk along this journey, you won't be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so many times I thought I would be. Nobody would understand. But I've learned as I continue to share my story, I've had more people come up to me and say, me too, me too. And that's let me know, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Mm-hmm.
And healing, healing can happen and healing has happened. And together is better.
I freaking love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like, I don't have the words to just say how thankful I am that we connected, that
Mhm.
you crossed my path, that God breathed you my way. Um, you have inspired me, you have motivated me, you pushed me, and I love it. I just want to say just how thankful I am for Candace.
Oh, Tina.
Just Candace. And I'm hoping that someone has heard something that you said today that can help them to realize they're not alone.
Mhm.
And I hope that being here helps you to realize just how important the things that you do. I don't think you need anything to push you to do what you do, but I just want you to know that we appreciate it. And I do want to really, really quick circling back. I want you to share information about your book. And as you will see, she has her website on her link. Please go to it. There is a lot of resources available on that website, so please go to it. But tell us about your book real quick before we close out.
Yeah, my book is called Awake My Soul, and you can find it on Amazon. But what it does is it walks you through a personal one-on-one with God. So you get to walk through these three ways that will develop an intimate relationship with Him. As a daughter of the King, I have learned to do Bible study all my life, but this particular Bible study is not your traditional Bible study. I kept feeling like there was something missing as I was attending these Bible studies, and the Lord was very kind to say, "Yeah, it's one-on-one with me, yo." When you go on a date with your husband, do you bring anybody else in on that date? And I'm like, "Well, no." And he goes, "Well, then why are you bringing somebody else in on our date?" Well, because I didn't know how to do this. I didn't know how to date you, Lord. And he was like, okay, well, I'm going to teach you. And so he used these three ways to teach me, which is prayer, reading God's word, and praise. Keep it simple, right? PRP. And what we do in the book is it actually is a layout of what those things look like. So we take the Lord's Prayer and we make it very personal. So I give you a prompt and then you finish it and we walk you through those 7 ways that Jesus invites us to ask for prayer or to seek the Lord. And then you get to choose any book of the Bible you'd like. I keep it very simple, very short. We want to start with just chapter 1 in whatever book that is, in verses 1 through 3, 1 through 5. Keep it simple. We then unpack it with questions to help you dive a little bit deeper. And then we finish it with praise and worship. So you get to choose one praise and worship song, and I give you a list of different artists that I love. And if you have somebody else differently that you enjoy, go ahead and use them. But ultimately, what I tried to do in this book was give you about a minimum of 15-minute date with the Lord. That's very personal and intimate, and just a guide on how to do that. And so I've had a lot of ladies reach out to me and say, "This is awesome. I've done so much with him and gone through many books of the Bible just because you basically helped me lay it out very easily." And that's what I want to do, is keep it simple.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I wanted to bring that up because realizing and understanding as you go through this, it's going to feel lonely.
Mhm.
It's going to feel extremely lonely. You're going to feel as if no one hears you. And I feel that this book is an opportunity for you to build a relationship so that you can have someone
Mhm.
when it feels like you don't have anybody. So,
Mhm.
Candice, thank you. I appreciate you. If you will hang out for me for one moment, I'm going to close us out. Give me a second. Okay, so you heard it. You got it firsthand. Candice is amazing, isn't she? Like, I don't know about you, but she is one of those people that you want to keep close. And she is definitely one of those people that I loved having in the SheShed. And she said a lot of things, but some of the things that I really want to bring back and I want to chew on for just 2.5 seconds is the fact that um, you have to do the right thing despite the fear. It's scary. I got it. It's scary talking about what you have experienced. You don't want to put yourself out there. You don't want to show the vulnerability, but understand and realize it's in your vulnerability that you're going to get the help that you really need. It is courageous. Yep, it sure is. And sometimes it just feels like it's not possible, but I promise you that it is. And we are going to be here helping you along the way if you will allow us. The other thing is realize that fear keeps you hidden. And what happens is as you are hiding in the background, you're wearing this mask, you're not hiding yourself from other people, you're hiding yourself from yourself. And once you begin to hide yourself from yourself, you lose sight of who you are. You are phenomenal. Girl, you the boss. Remember, you the boss. It's time for you to truly take control and say, you know what? I'm not going to allow you to keep doing this to me. And it's not even the other person. You are allowing what happened to you to give you punches. Don't do that. So, in actuality, what that really means is you're punching yourself. Step out. It's hard, it's difficult. Got it. But, baby, we're going to be here. If you just reach out, we're here to help you fight through this. So remember, you are the boss. You are the CEO of your own life. And as that boss, you get a chance to promote, demote, and terminate anything that is no longer serving you. And that is even your history. All right. I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Be good.